What's up, YouTube? So today's topic, I'm gonna talk about karma, consequences, and bitch ass people living on this fucking planet. So let's get to it. So I always wondered if I never understood how people could be such dickheads and such jackasses, but yeah, they don't seem to get karma or they don't seem to get consequences. I firsthand experienced this shit a lot. So I came from a very dysfunctional family. They were very abusive and shit like that. Like they just wouldn't change. And it's been over 10 years, like 5 to 10 years, and they're still doing the same shit. I still have to cuss them out. I still have to put my foot down. And I don't interact with them like that. I've cut contact with them for over like 6 years, but the times I do contact with them is when I gotta go back to their place just so I could grab my personal belongings, so I could pick it up, drop it off to my own place and stuff like that. I live in a completely different state from them. I live like 30 hours away from them. But it's just like, it's just bullshit how like these people still act the same. They still do the same bullshit. They're so disrespectful as fuck. And I'm like, man, what the fuck? So like, it really, and then you got these fucking tarot readers or these spiritualists who say that karma is real. Like these people get their karma, or the universe blocks you from seeing them get their karma. But I'm just like, that's some bullshit, because not just with my family members, but I've dated exes. I've dated women who are just so fucking narcissistic. I mean, if you look at most crimes, if you look at most people are very narcissistic. You have corrupt government. You have a lot of people who are racist, a lot of race wars, a lot of racism back in human history. And like, you look at the corrupt politicians and shit like that, and like, I just never understood why like karma never really happens like that. People want to say that, oh, God works in mysterious ways, or the universe works in mysterious ways, but I'm like, that's really bullshit. And even if it does happen, let's say if it is real, it's still not enough for people to change. So, and I understand that. I've heard that people could get karma in the afterlife, or like in this realm, people get away with a lot of bullshit in this realm, because this realm deals with the material, it deals with the physical. So if you do people wrong, it's basically spiritual. So this is why people who are evil, people who do a lot of bullshit, they tend to not get consequences and they still flourish in life. But apparently in afterlife, then that's when they get consequences, then that's when they get their karma. Me personally, I don't know if that's true or not. I've heard about that, but I think that's bullshit. But like I said, I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. um but me, I've a right to say this because I've experienced a lot of shit. I've experienced people who stolen over thousands of dollars. I have people who stolen money from me, people at the workplace, people that I thought were my friend. I had family members laid hands on me, cussed me out. I had to lay hands on them. I had to cuss them out of self-defense. The police were involved a lot. I had to cuss out a lot of people. I had to cuss out a lot of grown adults because of the bullshit they were doing. And I've been dealing with this shit since I was like 6 years old up until like 28. I'm still dealing with this shit right now. And if you look at most people too, especially most adults, most of them are very mentally ill. Most of them are very dysfunctional. Most of them are very fucking toxic. Most adults bully one another. Most adults put one another down. If you look at social media, how fucking insane people are. Even at the World Cup, you like Argentina versus Spain. You see how Argentina went to come fighting players on the soccer team on the Spain. So like you have the Argentinian players fighting the Spain, or the Spain players. Like they're fighting them, they're laying hands on them after Argentina lost. Like, you got grown ass adults acting like this shit, and that's why I think, like, man, karma is low key not real. Karma's not a real thing. And at times I get pissed off, but I have heard that just the fact that people act the way they are, or someone acts the way he or she are, or how this person acts the way that person is, that's their karma. Like, for example, so if you have someone that's very toxic, someone that's very dysfunctional, someone that's very stupid, just the fact they act like that, that's their karma. So that's the shit I've heard as well, which kind of makes sense. Though it doesn't make sense, because I can't really grasp how someone could live a life being a piece of shit, being disrespectful towards people, and just stealing from people, stealing people's money, scamming people, being a fucking freeloader, being a coward and like imagine living like that. You know, it's one thing if you make mistakes and you're ignorant, you just don't know. That's one thing, but it's another thing where like you consciously do this shit, and even out of where you've been doing this shit for a long time. It's just like, how do you sit with yourself? How do you look at yourself in the mirror? You know, like I don't know. With me personally, when I do things bad, or if I make mistakes, or if I harm someone by accident, or even on purpose, I do feel bad about it. I do feel guilt. I do feel guilt, you know, and I am scared of consequences as well. It's not because I'm into spirituality. It's not because I'm religious or anything, but I just have that inner knowing that how I treated someone is gonna come back to me, you know. So this is why I try to lay low. This is why I have my own business, and this is why I don't start problems with people. But not only that though, but because I've um I've been through so much pain, I've been through so much bullshit, I've been through so much isolation, so much grief, so much heartache, so much anger and shit like that, so much trauma, basically. I would never want to inflict pain onto another human being, you know. And as humans, we're not perfect, especially because we live in such an evil world. We got so much shit going on. So like, yeah, you are bound to make mistakes. You are bound to lash out. You are bound to harm someone. But I'm not justifying it, but this is how this world is, and that's just life. Eventually, you are going to do that. But as long as you're actively trying to change your ways, you're trying to prevent from harming someone unprovoked, and that I think that's all that matters. Honestly, just have that self awareness and also changing, you know, doing the inner work and doing the external work, you know. But at the same time, it's like, man, like there's almost so much a person could take, because I feel like I've experienced so much bullshit from people, and I feel like, you know, I've booked personal tarot readings. I've booked personal spiritual readings on why people do the things they did to me, you know, and why people are the way they are. And I've always heard the same shit where like God doesn't want me to see these people get get their get their karma for me to get justice, is because God wants to block me from seeing them. Because if I already see these people get karma, then I'll take too much joy and happiness on it, and then the karma could basically boomerang back on me. Once I heard that, it made sense. But as I'm getting older, I was like, man, that's some dumbass shit. That's some stupid ass shit, man. I don't really agree with that. So this is why I don't trust spiritualists. I don't trust tarot readers like that. They're just all talk. But I don't know, man. Maybe they're legit, but I don't know. I don't think it's God or the universe blocking me from people seeing get their karma, but I don't know, man. Because I have people who betrayed me. I have females who just switched up and shit like that. I'm just over this shit, man. Like I've done so much try to change people. I've done so much try to like make people see the error in their ways and shit like that. But I just can't change them. You know, those people I've encountered with throughout my life, it's like these people are still the same. They're still stuck in the same position, not doing anything in life, and how their mindset is and how they move in life, they're just doing the same shit. You know, they're not changing. You know, and I'm just like, God damn, like should I just give up on these people? And that's the thing too. I had given up on these people because I blocked all of them. I cut them out of my life, but there are certain instances where I had to contact them, for example, like my family, because I still have my personal belongings up in their bullshit ass house. So I need to come drive and travel to their house so I can grab myself, pick them up, and drop them off at my apartment. The reason I'm doing that is because, one, I got my own place, but two is because while I was gone in the military, my family would throw away all of my personal belongings without my consent after I told them not to do that before I left the military. And like I had every right to file a lawsuit or go to court with them and shit like that, but I didn't have the time. But in the near future, I am going to do that, you know, along with filing restraining orders. But it's just insane, man. People are just, this is bullshit, man. People don't change, like, especially growing up as adults, man. And I feel like people who don't change, maybe they're not happy with their life, maybe they're still miserable, but maybe with me, I'm such the opposite of them. I do a lot of inner work, I do a lot of healing work, I do a lot of shadow work, and I'm always constantly improving my life for the better. And maybe these people are not doing that, and with me, I can't really grasp that. That's where you get your different vibrations from. So rising out of me at a higher vibration, and it's people at a lower vibration, and they can't really grasp one another depending on on who's vibrating the highest and who's vibrating the lowest, you know, which makes sense. But I don't know, man. I'm just fed up with people's shit, man. But I'm not gonna lie, like there are times where like I was so fed up with all the bullshit that God or the universe putting these types of people into my life. I'm just tired of this bullshit. I was so fed up at one point, and still am to this day, that I'm starting to be more mean towards people. I'm starting to be more of a, I want to say the word mean, but more so like I'm more honest with people. So if people were to act out of character, or if there's something they're not doing after I told them multiple times to do that, then that's when I'll raise my voice. I will call them out, and I will put them in their place. So I'm more bold like that, you know. I've always been like that, but you know, sometimes I give a lot of people the benefit of the doubt sometimes, but they don't do that. As I'm getting older, it's like people, they don't fucking learn. So at times I have to raise my voice at them. I have to be mean. I have to be assertive towards people, and I have to cuss out a lot of people as well, like face to face and shit. But that's on them, you know. People they just don't know, you know. So, but or maybe they do know, but they just don't change. But yeah, man. I mean, if you look at this world too, there's a lot of fuckery in this world too, you know. Me, when I approach life, I approach it with every opportunities. That's why I'm constantly making more money every year. I'm constantly improving my life every year, mentally, externally, etc. But so I view life as more opportunity. But I'm smart enough to realize that, you know, everyone has different experiences with life. But overall, if you really observe life, there's a lot of bullshit going on. There's a lot of real corruption. There's a lot of wars and battles. There's a lot of money being wasted. There's a lot of resources being wasted. The planet is being damaged. You got so much poverty, so much unfair shit going on, you know? And with the law system, it's just, everything's out of whack. Everything's corrupted, you know? So I'm like, how come they're not getting their karma? How come life is not doing anything to them, you know? So I never understood that. So I'm not religious. I'm not spiritual, or I'm not religious like that, but I do believe in a higher power. I do believe there's a God. I do believe there's a universe. I do believe there's good and evil and shit like that, without a doubt, because I've experienced evil ass people. I've seen spirits during the dark, so I know there's life after death. But like, if I ever die, and if there is an afterlife, and if I am able to communicate with my ancestors, or if I am able to communicate with the universe or God or who's ever up there, I definitely want to have a word with them. I definitely want to go off at them. I definitely want to cuss them out. I definitely want to lay hands on them. I definitely want to do a lot of damage towards them because of all the fuckery that's going on this planet, all the fuckery that I have to deal with, putting up with people's bullshit, and just all this shit that they are held responsible for, but they're not doing anything to change it. So, and if you study spirituality, different religions, philosophy, you're going to realize that everything is in fact God's fault. I'm not going to go into detail. Most people are not willing to do the research. Most people are not willing to study. People are not willing to observe. People are not willing to live life. But with my experience, I could definitely say that, without a doubt, the universe, God, or who's ever in these other realms out there, they're definitely held to a higher responsibility for this bullshit, without a doubt, to a certain degree. But that's all I gotta say, man. Have a good one. Peace.